I just want to share with y'all. It's been kind of a hectic start to my day here at the Sheri Lynch Orthopedic Rehab Hospital that I'm running. We've had kind of a wild morning, and I had to take the trash out. You know, that's always I enjoy that so much in the pre-dawn hours, wheeling the trash can down the giant steep hill that our house is on, and fed all the critters and made Kev some breakfast and moved all the cat toys out of his path because while we sleep at night, Larry Munson takes his cat toys, his babies, and it is not a coincidence and it is not an accident because we've been tracking it. He carefully positions them in Kevin's path so that Kevin runs them over and trips over them. So dealt with all that, took a shower, got dressed, came down, was unable to log on to the internet because you know my issues with Spectrum. Rebooted all the equipment. It finally comes back up, and I have a little coaster on my desk. I got it for Valentine's Day probably 5 years ago. And you put your coffee on it, and it's pressure sensitive. When the weight of the coffee cup gets on the coaster, it turns it on and it keeps it hot.
Oh,
and
that's cool.
I mean, it's very cool. I've had it for 5 years. Like, I don't know what Kev paid for it, but don't know anybody anything. It gets the job done. Well, I didn't really think about it. With everything so crazy today, I didn't even have time to make some coffee. And so I'm sitting down at my desk, and Larry Munson is sitting on my desk with me, watching me work, which he does sometimes. And what I didn't realize was that Larry Munson had sat himself down on the coaster. And it took a bit, I guess, for the weight. He weighs 18 pounds, which is more than the average cup of coffee, unless you're Lamar. Okay. So it took a bit, I guess, for the coaster from the weight of the cat to heat up. But I'm sitting here and I'm like, why won't this boot up? What the? And I'm Spectrum. What is it today? It's always something. It's every day. Why can't? And suddenly I hear, Rah! And he goes buck wild. I'm surprised he didn't knock my computer off, let out a scream, and shot off the desk. I don't think his paws touched the ground and was up the stairs and gone before I realized, oh, he was sitting on the coffee coaster. Well, that'll teach him. So cheers, everybody.
He's going to leave you alone now.
Bring whatever you drink and celebrate Happy Hour Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern live on the Bob and Sheri Facebook page.
When Mary and I relocated and sold our old house and moved into a new one, you know, it was a new place, and she immediately went out and found about 780 friends within 1 month. Because that's the way she is. She loves to be around a lot of people like her, and she's very friendly, you know, and all of that. So she has a lot of friends. And I, as anybody who listens to the show on a regular basis knows, I am more a lone wolf. I like to have the friends that I know, both here on the show, and I have a few other friends scattered around the country. But I do not have a guy friend where we live. And she came to me because these articles are everywhere, and she's a therapist, so she sees all of them. If you don't have people in your life that you're relating to on a regular basis who are your friends, you know, all of a sudden, you know, you can get kind of squirrely. It's not good for your health. So she's been saying, you have got to make a friend. This is a new year. You've got to make a friend this year. And so one of her friends' husband is relocating from New York City, getting out of the city, and living near us. And I've been to a couple of social engagements, and he's a really nice guy. And we clicked just like that. I mean, I'd see him, you know, I've seen him like 3 times. And as soon as I go to the next party, there he is. And immediately I feel more comfortable because I've talked to this guy before and I like him. I don't know a lot about him yet. I don't know where he is politically. I don't know, you know, where he is. Not that that would make a tremendous amount, but, you know, these days, maybe sometimes it would. I don't know if he's, you know, into sports. We're going to find out because I've decided to have lunch with him on Friday. We're going to have lunch. he talked to Mary and he said, I really would like to see if I could be a friend of Bob's, but I don't know how to deal with it. I don't know how to approach it because I think he picked up a vibe that I'm kind of superficial with friendships and that, it was nice seeing you at the party. Maybe I'll see you 6 months from now. But he said, I don't know how to approach it. So once I heard that, I knew that I had to make the approach. So we were together and with Mary's friends. And I said, John, I'd love to have lunch with you. And his face lit up because the burden was off of him. So he said, "Great, I'll text you, and you pick the place and blah blah blah." So I picked the place, and we're going there after work on Friday. The words "I'd like to have lunch with you" have not come out of my mouth. I can't even remember. I mean, I don't know if I've ever said that to a guy before. It's always been to a woman that I wanted to date. So I'm kind of looking forward to it, and I may have a friend. I found
Good
out he
for
plays golf,
you.
and maybe I'll get back into playing golf again.
Good for you. I'm really proud of you for taking that step. And I agree. I cannot remember the last time you used the sentence, I would like to have lunch with you. And I don't mean since you've moved or even since COVID. I mean since like ever. Because typically, because we talk, you always like to have
Thank you.
lunch alone.
Thank you for saying that. The idea that I am yakking with you for 6 hours straight, sometimes more than that, and then I have to go out and have lunch with somebody and make, conversation. It was too much for me. It was too much
Yeah.
talking.
I mean, you didn't want to have lunch. In fact, we would have lunch meetings sometimes, and you would look like a man who was being slowly eaten by a shark. I mean, you just hated it. And that's okay because you are talked out. You are.
I am.
And you
I am
needed
talked
you
out.
needed a break. And you just wanted to eat lunch and get on with the day. So yeah, good for you. And I'm with Mary. I think it's important to make a friend.
Yeah. People who don't do what we do, they don't understand it though. They go to work at 8:30 in the morning and they're going to work, throughout the morning and then it's lunchtime. And if you have a job where you can do it, they could say, "Hey, I've got a 1 hour lunch break. Why don't we have lunch?" That's fine. But they're not doing what we're doing because when you're having lunch, you're just not going to sit there and say nothing. You've got to come up with something to say.
Bob and Sheri books, swag, and the mother of all mothers merch. Just hit shop at bobandsheri.com.
So I was at a party. One of Mary's friends threw a party and meeting new people. And of course, everybody always asks, well, what do you
enjoy
do?
that.
Right. And how about your wife? What does your wife do? And I say, well, I'm a broadcaster and my wife is a therapist. And they go, oh, well, tell me about your work. I said, well, I've been working with the same women for like 3 decades. And they go, wow. I said, and she's a therapist too. And then I beat them to the punchline. I say, yeah, a therapist at work, a therapist at home. I don't have to think about anything my entire life. It's always pointed out. Everything's always pointed out. So an example of that is there was somebody got in contact with me from my past. And a problem arose that I had to deal with. And I'm looking at it and talking out loud going, I cannot believe that I have to put up with this and deal with this. This is going to ruin the whole day. And I hate when I go to that dark place. And Mary was right there and she said, you can't say those words out loud. You're saying them out to the universe. It's going to come back to you, all that negativity. And I said, well, I don't know. What am I going to do with this? She goes, all right. And at that, when I heard all right, she knows she can't be my therapist because we sleep together. We live together, right? She really can't. If I want a therapist, it's got to be somebody else, even though that's what she does. So she said, I'm just going to give you one trick and see if it works for you. I went, what is it? And she said, every time you go to that dark place, give it a name and say, not now. I said, give it a name. She said, yeah. So what's the name you're going to give it? And I thought of a couple of people that I'd like to say not now, but I don't even want to mention their name. And so I came up with Nicky. There was a scary guy when I was in high school named Nicky. And this, I told you about this guy. This is the guy we were in gym class changing. He hung his gun up in the locker. Now today, you know, he would have been reported. But I watched him hang it on a hook like you would hang a hat inside his locker. I was walking home with my friend Paul and Richie. There was Nicky. Nicky had his gun. And he said, "You want to see something?" And he fired it into a hill, a small hill next to us. And all I can remember is going, "That is so cool, Nicky," and kind of moving along. So I chose Nicky. So from this point on, every time there's something that's negative, I may have to use it on the show. I don't know. I'm going to try what she said. I'm going to say, "Not now, Nicky. Get away, Nicky," and just shoo away the aggravation with the thought of my controlling Nicky.
I like it. I don't know that you're going to be able to stick with it, but I like it. I hope
Not
you
now,
can.
Nicky. Not now, Nicky.